Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Todd here with Swing Trade Pros, or STP, coming at you with a video on 3 different ways to set up the swing bot. I was asking in our Discord earlier and I figured I'd do a quick video presentation on it, because there's a couple different ways to set it up. People would like to know, a little bit more about each. We've got the guides for our indicator clients, and the guides do explain different ways to it, I should say. But it is also helpful to go over it on the chart and actually show everyone, what we're meaning when we say the guides, the long and short, the trailing, the signal to signal, the auto reversing setup, that sort of stuff. So without further ado, let's get into it, and I'll point over to here. So the first way to really run the bots, and this is just, easy peasy, signal to signal. That's signal closes deals. That's all it is. Option number 2 is signal to signal with TSL take profit, TP. And option number 3, should be number 3, is long and short with trailing. So, if you've got the indicators and you know what I'm talking about, great. We can enlarge on each of them later. If you don't know what I'm talking about here, and maybe you're new to the channel or new to our Discord and whatnot, we'll go over that here. So how do they work? What are the differences? Option number 1 basically is just signal to signal. So signal closes the deals. So realistically on the chart, it looks like this. So this cell here, let me zoom in, would be candle close at the bottom for short, you enter, and signal to signal on the next buy, which would be, 2.35%. It's a short deal coming over. So that's what it means to signal, right? So you're in a short until a long comes in. You're in a long until a short comes in, vice versa. And then this one here is going to be long from the top of the candle, once per candle close. And unfortunately, you're going to lose on this one. Negative 1.02%. I know I've got 1% on here. It just depends on how you measure them. And for anybody that would know or need to know how to do this, basically you just have to click shift and then hold shift and click on the chart, and you can measure. So that's the easiest way to do it. And the pointer tool is pretty helpful because you can hit the candle tops and the candle bottoms to measure across. Now I know there are strategy testers, and we have one as well. It's just I prefer to do this visually and then map it out for everyone. Because as well, I do have this mapped out on the chart that I can show you after I go over signal to signal, just to show everyone the results of it. So the signal to signal bot summed up basically is that you're gonna have to accept that there will be losses with the signal to signal method. However, when the market moves big, you will capture that whole movement. So back to the chart here, let me just zoom out. Yeah, so that's a win. This is a loss. This one's a win. This one's a win here. You're gonna lose here. Basically, you need a lot of volatility. You need a lot of trending movements, for this to be profitable. Like here, back to back, 2 losses. That sucks. And then you come out the gate with a huge runner, 12.8%, right? So from here, and assuming that you closed it on this candle here, 12.72, like I say, I was probably zoomed in earlier when I measured this, 12.72, 12.8. This is net of fees, obviously, but you could see where that once a big move comes in, you're going to get it, right? You will have times where you get chopped out. This isn't great. This signal you lose here and you lose there, right? But at the end of the day, when the market moves big, you will capture the whole movement. The thing I'd like to note here too is this would be best to be running on a low base order or leverage, like 1 to 3x as maximum, up to the end user, obviously, but you don't want to have the losses affect your balance too much, right? So, you could run this 10x, but what happens when you hit this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy all in a row? The losses and the drawdown will just be too much. So you're better off to have run this at a low leverage. And then if you do see some big moves upcoming, maybe you've got some TA background or whatnot, then you can increase the base order and therefore the leverage, right? And the way I'm referring to this is I'm referring to this as in cross. So like cross and 100% base entry is 1x. 200% base entry is 2x. The other thing I should note is the swing bot doesn't have any DCA, so it's just basically one order and in. The other thing I will point out here is for this method, you should utilize a set stop loss and signal auto reverse as well. So for this, basically for this little back test that I did here, I just chose to go with 2% stop loss because I felt that'd be fine, right? You either hit a 2% stop loss or you get a signal auto reverse, as I want to call it. So in a signal auto reverse is this. So I'm in a short right now. Okay, everything's all good. However, I don't close it, I don't intervene or whatever, and the buy signal comes in and we close this deal here. 1.58% auto reverse. So that's what I'm getting at when I'm saying auto reverse. So you're in a short until a long comes in, you're in a long till a short, vice versa, right? So basically the way you have to do that is you have to set up your alerts to open one bot, close the other. We've got guides on our Discord for our indicator clients for all that. And basically it's easy to set up. You just got to follow the guides and implement it into your alerts. And all you really need is a platform to accept webhook for this. Currently we're using 3 commas. I know there are other numerous alternatives, but the end process is the same. It's just TradingView webhook off TradingView to a bot platform to exchange, right? So back to this, utilize a set stop loss, signal auto reversing as well, long open, close a short position, vice versa. No set take profit as it can limit you. So this is what I mean about that. Like if you were to set, let me find a good example. So if you were to have set a set take profit of, let's say 5% on this deal, right? Well, you would exit, you'd be out right here. You'd be out right there and you're going to miss basically the whole run up, So that's where I'm getting at with the signal to signal bot, where it does catch everything. It's up to you when you want to take profit for sure, but without that set take profit, your bot can keep going. So, this deal is, what is this deal? This deal is realistically almost, 5.5 days, right? This will be for very patient people, obviously. The market works that it rewards a patient, and it's pretty hard on people who are impatient. Let's be honest here. So would you have taken profit on this if you were impatient? You might have, right? But what's the difference between that and a set take profit? So for true signal to signal, no set take profit as it can limit you. Opposite signal closes the deal. This is just basically in a nutshell how it can work out. And realistically, this works really good if you are a good manual trader and you are able to monitor this. So maybe you set the bots up, you've got on a bot set up on the hourly, and you are manually trading as well. So maybe you are ripping trades daily. This would be perfect for somebody who is in tune with manual trades and knows what they want to see out of a bot, because shoot, you run all the way up to here, 84, maybe you just close it at 8K or something, like maybe you take profit a little bit earlier. We've got some users on our Discord that do that. They run the bot signal to signal and then they just take profit when it's there, right? You're in a bear market, you're in a bear trend, watch out for the longs, take profit on the longs. You can always adjust it later too, right? So that's pretty much it for the signal to signal bot for the explanation on it. The signal settings that I like are 20 and 3.5 or 4. For this back test here, I just did 20 and 3.5. The lower the range multiplier, the more signals that you get, but also the more chances of fake out signals. So really 3.5 is good. It's a good mix. 20 and 4 is pretty good as well, but however, you are entering a little later on a few things. So with that, let's go over to the chart here and let's take a look at the snips of what you actually get. This is, keep in mind, this is starting from December 1st. Let's just to show you, if I go back, where are we? 9th of November, too far. Okay, so I started this on December 4th. I didn't count this signal because I wanted to start on December 1st. That basically gives you 3 months of runtime. So let's go back to this chart, which is the same thing. And basically we can walk through this. Let's walk through this line by line. You know, you get a couple losses here. You get a decent one here. Scroll down. Yeah, let's go with that. 5 signals, 4 losses, negative 4.65%. This is not great. I mean, this is the first deal here, right? When you're in a choppy market and there isn't much trend, there isn't much movement, you know, this is where signal is going to suck. It's going to do really great on clear trend moves. So first snip here, not great at all. Let's go to the second one. Second one, you get a couple good deals. This one, not great. You auto reverse, but you do catch almost 5 here and 5 here, 2 there, and 0.72. This guy's got 5 signals, 1 loss. 12.38% is what this one made. Let's go to the next one. This one, yet again, you know, stop loss, auto reverse, catches a decent one down here. This guy here, 4 signals, 2 losses, negative 1.3. And we'll go to the next one. You'll like this one because we caught some good movement on here. This is at 12.8. This one rips up, and then you get 1.84% coming down on a short. So 2 signals, 0 losses, 14.64%. Come on to the next one, and we've basically got 2 signals, 1 loss. 2 signals, 1 loss, 8.15%. This was a good trade here, right? Clear trend on the way up. Go to the next one. Not great. These 3 aren't great. You know, this guy scratches here. You still get 10.1% on the way up here. So here we've got 5 signals, 3 losses, 7.5% taken, which is okay. On to the next one, and this one I got a funny note on too. So obviously pretty choppy here, right? You get 3 signals in a row that aren't great. Realistically, we got some customer complaints of signal being highly unprofitable here. I understand that. Obviously, I understand that. This is why I'm filming this video for you guys. But seriously, look left, look right, look past this box. Like seriously, you might have a few bad ones here, but you're missing the point here. The point of this bot setup signal to signal is you're catching the whole move. So you're ripping 10% on the way up here. You are maybe losing a little bit here in this box when we were getting complaints, but you're still gonna rip 5% on the way out. So realistically, instead of complaining, maybe you should look to alter your strat. And this is the purpose of this video, just to kind of inform some users of alternative ways to you know, maybe fix the strat that they want to run, or at least understand what you're looking for, you know, because realistically you have to know a bit about TA, and you should know what you want to see in a bot before you set something up. You know, you should, whether it's a signal to signal, long and short with trailing, or signal to signal with take profit, trailing stop loss and all that, you should have a clear idea of what you expect out of a bot and what you want to see, right? So, you know, complaining here that the signal is highly unprofitable and you're losing trades, okay, well, great. What did you run the bot for? You know, 4 days, and you took 3 trades and you lost three signals? Don't know what to tell you, because when you look left and you look right, you catch 10% here and you catch 4.69% here. So with that being said, we'll get into the final results of this strategy that I'm getting towards. But if you're of the like-minded, if you are thinking that maybe this isn't for you and we can improve on it, you're right, we can improve on it. Let's get into option 2 and option 3. So hopefully that wasn't too long-winded, but you got to see it from outside the box, that the bot's only as smart as what you're telling it to do. The bot's only as smart as what you have set it up to do, what the indicator is doing, you know, your TSL, your take profit, or signal to signal. You got to understand, and you got to recognize that this method here will have losses, right? So this chart here, we catch the 4.69. Overall, it is Mm, not great, 0.72%. You don't take much on that. You still will be paying fees on here if you're assuming market. So, you might be down to 0.4% or something, right? But it's better to be profitable than negative. So let's go to the next page here. And, stop loss, auto reverse, stop loss, 1.13 stop loss. Not great. I know. Not great. This guy whacks you back negative 7.28%. Go to the last chart, and then basically you've got another stop loss, another auto reverse, and this sell signal would still be open. And you would be open from, I think that was 97.80 or something. At the time of this snipping, when I measured it, is about 10%. So I don't know what the price is doing right now. But you would be, if you close this at 10%, and I'm just calling it 10% for this video, just so I can film it and put it out here. It's two signals, two signals, two losses. Sorry, did I read that right? 1, 2, 3. No, that's 3 signals, 2 losses. I have a typo here. Apologies. 3 signals, 2 losses. You are 7.47%. So overall, looking at it, I mean, you're 35 signals and you're 21 losses. That's not a great win percentage, obviously. That is 40% profitable. However, the thing to note here is with all of this, you did catch the clear trend. So it's 37.63% taken, and this would be based on 1x, and that's counting December, January, and February. So what is that? Divided by 3, that's roughly 12.3-ish% per month. It's not great, but it's still a win. You know what I mean? Like compared to our scalper, which is 25 to 30% per month with intervention. You're okay with this. It's like I say, it can be improved on, but at least now after reviewing that, what signal to signal will actually do, right? So you are going to have losses, but when you see and you catch these big moves, you don't have a take profit that's going to hold you out here. You don't have trailing that might come down to here and might wick you out up here. You're catching the full move. So it's kind of up to the end user to decide if this works for them or not. The other thing, like I say earlier, is with the 1 to 3x, like it's best to run on low base order and leverage because you don't want to have the losses affect your balance too much. If you had it at 10x and you basically hit your first round of signals at negative 4.65%, well, you'd be losing negative 40% of your balance. You know what I mean? And then when you come up to here, you might hit 12% on the next go. You're gaining 120%, but overall it's too volatile. That's 2 ups, that's 2 downs. Generally speaking, the higher leverage plays should be something that has take profit, should be something that has stop loss, should be something that has a high profitability of percent. And if you caught the video I did the other day on strategy number 1 and number 2 on the 30-minute chart, I believe strategy number 2 is darn near there with that one because that one was 74% profitable. So you could check that video out as well. But for now, let's get back to the swing bot here. So the next thing here you could do is signal to signal with TSL and take profit. I'm just going to move this out of the way. So this method is the same as above, however, utilizes a set take profit to take profit when it's there. So like an example of this for this current market, December, January, February would be you could utilize a 6 to 10% take profit and 2% trail set to your liking. So at least when you run up, you're hitting it. You're getting the move. So this guy here, let's just measure this out and see if you get it. Well, that hits 9.8%, or I guess it hits a little higher, 9.86. So if you had set that at, let's say 6% take profit and a 2% trail, you're going to run all the way up, and basically 9 minus 2, you're going to be out at 7.86%. So you're going to capture more of the move. The only thing that sucks about that with a set take profit and trail is something like this, because when you look at it, you got to almost look at some of these wicks, because some of these wicks are pretty deep. Yeah, see, that's almost or that is about a 2% candle. So when you get candles that are higher than your take profit, sorry, your trailing attached to your take profit, you are going to trail out. So that's the other thing, right? So, it's going to help you to get rid of some of the, I want to say it's going to help you capture some profit more, but it's also going to hold you back on the the bigger signals. So that is the drawdown to this, right? And we'll get into that. So previous example could be 6 to 10% take profit and 2% trail set to your liking. This can limit you from capturing the full move. You could also utilize TSL or trailing stop loss to minimize losses as well. So 2% TSL would work good. So this would be like, same thing here. Let's just zoom in and show an example. So this is probably another 2% candle. Oh, not quite. So maybe this one is, sorry, shift is being sticky. There we go. Okay, let's call this a 2% candle. So 2% TSL, you would be in here, right? And you're gonna run all the way up to here, which is 3.01%. Now, as soon as you run down to 1.01, which actually right there, then you're TSL'd out, right? And same thing with catching big wicks like this here. So that is one of the drawdowns on it, honestly, is just, you can use them. You can use take profit, you can use TSL, but at that point, you're better off to focus on what is basically going to get you a higher profitability rate. So, which might be, whether it's option 2 or option 3. Yet again, I've got some typos here, so apologies about that. The above can be changed to fit the market conditions. So, I mean, just because in this example, we did see some big run-ups here, it doesn't mean that you don't play signal to signal and just take profit at 2%. Maybe you could do that. You could do that. So you could do 2% take profit, 1% trail, or something like that. So you're catching a little bit more, or maybe you just go for a straight up 2% take profit, and you've got a TSL that is 2% or whatever, right? Like, you got to have a good risk to reward ratio there. Just throwing out ideas on that. So basically, in a nutshell, signal to signal with TSL take profit will be the same as signal to signal. However, whatever you choose for TSL and take profit will limit you from capturing the full move. So don't expect to set a TSL and a take profit and catch something like this. Like, there is just, this is a tricky one to catch, this 12.8. Like, these wicks are very deep, as you know, and but the only way you could do it is utilizing the long and short with trailing indicator, where I don't know how far you can get it, but you might get it to up here or up here. But then on that same note, that is such a, unless you know that trend's coming, it's hard, because that high of an indicator setting on it, you won't be taking anything on these little ones as well. So we can get into that next. So the long and short with trailing indicator. So let me just load that, and then let's chat about that. So we're back here yet again, 04 December. And long and short with trailing, not using HAs, just regular candles, 23.5. For this example, I've got 3% take profit and 50% trail. We've got a write-up on this on our indicator script page, so you can check this out. But basically, the quick overview of this is that as soon as your take profit is hit in percent, then you start trailing. So 50% retracement is allowed for maximum price reach. So if you're at 3% here and your price runs up to 3%, but then it just dumps, you should be exiting at around 1.5%. However, if you hit that 3% trail and it immediately just runs up to 10%, well, now you're still going to trail back, but you're only allowing 50%. So you'd be exiting at 5, right? I mean, it's not going to be just that cut and dried as, 3 to 10 and whatnot, but basically it's just a function of the max percent reached, or the max price reached. And you can adjust this to utilize lower amounts. right? So obviously this guy here, we got out here versus up to there. The higher trailing lets you obviously trail more, right? So maybe 35 is good or 50 is good. It's kind of up to the end user to use. So with getting into that, the method is the same as the above. However, the indicator has trailing built in, which can allow you to capture more profit from the signals or exit earlier. I personally like 20 and 3.5 or 4 for this on the chart with the take profit setting adjusted to the chart. General note, the higher the time frame chart, the higher the take profit should be. Like if I look at this here, this is on the hourly, right? So if let's say I wanted to trade on the 4 hour, well, shoot, the take profit is not big enough. Like 3% is not much. So I'm missing here, I'm missing a bit here. I'm not catching the full move here. This one's okay, but I still could aim for a bit higher. And then when you come over here, same thing. Well, 3% take profit is too low. I missed this whole run up here. I could be adjusting this higher. Like maybe I set long take profit to 6%. What does that do? Well, it gets me up to here. And this is probably that 12.8% move that I was talking about earlier, right? I set that to 10%. Well, on the 4 hour chart, it's clear trend. I'm still exiting here. It's hard to catch the whole thing, but you get the drift. So if I go to, actually, let's just change this back. Let's go back to 3 and 35. Let's go back to the hourly, and let's explain this a little bit better too. So the higher the time frame chart, the higher the take profit should be. So basically you just adjust it for the chart. I always take a look on the chart and see how big the candles are and then find the take profit based on that. So for this, if we go back to, let's go back to 2019, 1201. Oh, didn't like that. 2019, 1201. Okay, let's go back. So, the other thing that you could say is with the higher the time frame chart, the higher the take profit percent should be. But if your take profit isn't reached, then you are forced with either a stop loss or an auto reverse. So the other thing that you could look to realistically do is you could set a low take profit. So you could realistically rip this at 0.5%. You could rip this at 0.5% all day, have maybe a 1% trailing stop loss. I mean, granted, yeah, you enter here and you're exiting here on some of these, but at least you're catching profits, right? This is more akin to scalping. You're not catching the full move, but you're catching a clear 0.74% there. This one will be a loss because you basically enter here and you're going to be trailing back. But this guy, however, works out okay. You catch almost 1% here. This one, I think this one will be a loss there, unfortunately. But you would have to adjust this. So if we're on the hourly, maybe 1% is a little better. Go to 1%. Yeah, that's a little bit better. So you can see how it changes things, right? So here now you're catching 1.3 or 1.26. Here from this long up to here you're exiting. Where it throws the line is where you exit. So here, same thing from here to here. This long exit's okay there. That sort of thing. Back to settings, you'll have to play with it and see what you want to do for your own bots. But for the hourly, I do like 3% take profit and either 35 or 50% trail. 35 is not bad, but watch 50, watch what it does. So it changes things and it allows you, maybe that's a bad example here, but there are times when a higher percent trail won't trail you out and you'll actually get higher in take profit. Like as in you won't trail out because you've given it enough threshold so that it can keep climbing. But basically for this, you can play around with it. long and short with trailing method, the trailing setting on the indicator, I keep it at 50%. You can go lower to 30 to 35%, kind of up to the end user. For further info, definitely read the indicator page, how it works. And as said before, this can limit you from capturing the full move, right? So, generally speaking, these are all pretty good signals. You're not catching the full move. This does kind of suck. You're out of a deal for 8 days, 7 hours. So if you're using the long and short with trailing and you want to do a bot that is based on that, maybe you might look to do a couple different time frames. You know what I mean? Like, you could use the same account, but maybe you have a 30-minute bot and an hourly bot, and then maybe you do a 15-minute bot, right? Like, if I load this on the 30-minute, same thing here. You catch some good deals, but when you're looking at some of these in terms of movement, if you look at this on the hourly, you might be out and waiting for 5 days, whereas on the 30-minute, you might be taking trades, right? So just keep that in mind. Like I say, a guy will just have to play around with it, and you can figure out what you want to do. But before you have to figure out what you want to do, you have to figure out what your strategy looks like. Are you comfortable with signal to signal where it's going to lose a little bit to capture the full move? Do you want to run signal to signal with TSL take profit so that you are getting your set take profit and you have your TSL knowing that you're going to miss some of the big moves? Or do you just want to say screw it and run long and short with trailing, adjust it to the chart, and then once it's adjusted to the chart, you're able to figure out that, okay, well, I am going to be very profitable. I have a high success rate. I can increase the leverage. So, and like I say, check out the video that we did the other night on strategy number 2 on the 30-minute chart. It did work very well with long and short with trailing. This would be a good opportunity to watch that video as well so that you can see some decent settings on long and short with trailing indicator. It's just, you got to play with it and you got to figure out charting, time frame, indicator settings, take profit settings, trailing settings. There's no set it and forget it. One setting fits all on the trailing indicator or the reentry, really. I mean, reentry is a bit better with 20 and 6, but for the long and short with trailing, you get what you see what I'm putting down here when I load the 4 hour and you're exiting deals way too soon. Same with if I go to the 8 hour and, well, you're exiting here, you missed the whole move here, that sort of stuff, right? So it has to be adjusted per time frame. Like, just a quick example here, if we went to 12%, well, okay, yeah, that catches it pretty good, and that catches that now pretty good, right? So it's just the fine little subtle tweaks depending on which chart that you want to trade from, and all of that stems from knowing which setup that you want to run for the swing bot and basically how you want to trade. Manual TA can help, and as well as a little bit of experience running bots, and basically you just got to have in the back of the mind, what do you want? Do you want a high profitability rate, 70 to 80%, and really good signals, or do you want to capture the full move, that sort of stuff? So anyways, I hope this helps, and hopefully this wasn't too long. If you have any further questions, please click the link below. We've got our Discord down there, and we're always available on there. So come on over, get an indicator trial, check it out. We've also got signals available on 3 commas and a few other places as well. So come on over to STP Discord, ask any questions that you like, and happy trading. STP Todd signing off, and I hope you found some value out of this video. If you have any questions, you can also leave them down below, and any video requests as well too. Maybe you want to see a few other strategies, or maybe some more indicator videos or whatnot. But anyways, catch you on the next one. Talk to you later.